Dun dun dun. Thank you for joining us today. We're going to be reading this article from Christian Post, and it is about the pastor running for president. And that's what the title of the article says, Meet the Pastor Running for President. And so today we're going to meet the pastor and we're going to talk about the president, the pastor running for president. And so stay tuned because this is going to be some exciting stuff. And so with everything, try not to be so negative that all you say about somebody or something that they're doing is negative. Unless all that they're doing is negative, then you can say something negative about what they're doing because there's nothing positive to say. But what we're going to be doing is talking about this person's goals as running for president. And I think that it's some pretty good goals. I think a lot of people should have more goals for the children of the future. And so this article is written by Ryan Foley. And so let's jump right into the text. It says, Ryan Binkley is a Texas pastor. And if you read down an article, it says, Binkley serves alongside his wife as co-pastor of the non-denominational Create Church. Now, first off, his religious background, I don't agree with it. He's a pastor. His wife's a pastor. Your wife can't be a pastor. A woman can't be a pastor. A pastor has to be the husband of one wife. Is he married to a man? No, he's not. It's his wife. And so a wife cannot fill the position of a pastor. And that's one thing that you see in the world today, a problem with, is individuals finding out their identity. Individuals who are men trying to fulfill the role of a woman, and individuals who are women trying to fulfill the role of a man. And the position of a pastor is the same as a bishop, an overseer, a shepherd, an elder, a presbyter. It's all the same position. I think that 6 titles reference to the same position, and a woman cannot fulfill that. So first off, religious background of this individual, I do not agree with it. But just because you disagree with the religious background of an individual does not mean that they might not make a good president, right? It doesn't matter who the president is. We have a president right now that don't agree with their religious perspective, religious point of view. I believe the current president is a Catholic. Now, I don't agree with him, but guess what? We should pray for our leaders. We should pray for the leaders of the country that righteous laws might be set into place to protect the peace in the community, to stop the chaos. And right now, you see a lot of chaos going on. There's not a lot of protection for the people. And if it is decreasing, and at such a rate that it makes it feel like danger going out into the community. And so they need to set laws into place that protect the innocent in the community and give harsher punishments to individuals who are doing evil crimes. Because guess what? They get out the same day and they go do the same thing. It's evil. But it goes on to say in this article, polls measuring voter support for declared candidates shows another individual, right, Trump, as the clear frontrunner, and does not even include Binkley's name. And so they just state that this person has not a good chances getting president as other individuals because his name's not even on the polls. Now, that doesn't really matter, right? Doesn't really matter if your name's on the poll list or not. It might have an indication of it, but sometimes the underdog comes up. Sometimes the underdog wins. And so the goal isn't to state this person should be president. The goal is to just review this article and point out the good things and which are stated in it and the bad things. But it goes on to say, the big thing that we're seeing now is that we're falling behind in education. This is a statement made by Binkley. That's his name, Binkley. And it goes on to say, the big thing that we're seeing now is that we're falling behind in education, not just in suburban areas, but urban areas are going through a critical phase right now. And the problem isn't the subject matter being taught. That's a huge problem. But the problem, he says, is at an 8th grade level, only 1 out of 6 are reading at the 8th grade reading level. And that has to be fixed. That sure is a problem. 8th graders not even reading in an 8th grade level. And the reason isn't because, well, I'll just say the reason is because the parents aren't training their children. It's not that these individuals are mentally incapable. It's that they don't have the support behind them, right? Their parents, what are their parents doing? You see so many kids today, they're hanging out with their parents, but what are their parents doing with them? Not teaching them to read, not teaching them to write, not teaching them math. And it goes on to say, we're not even in the top 20 in education anymore. When I went to school, they taught us a lot of nonsense. They did. We learned to read, we learned to write, but they taught a lot of nonsense. And the things that you need to be learning about, how to write a check, how to save your money, balance your money in a checkbook, how to save up and prepare for the future, for building a house, for renting, for buying a car, right? All of those things, they don't teach you. What do they teach you? Stuff that happened hundreds of years ago that you're really not going to be able to use in your future. It doesn't matter. They're just wasting your time. They're filling up your mind. And a lot of it's garbage, especially nowadays. A lot of the stuff they're teaching is rewritten history, and it's just garbage. And now the stuff that they're introducing, trying to teach children about what gender they should be, that they feel like, as if the creator was wrong. And so you have a lot of evil teachers going on in the world today. And so it says we need a revival in education. And he says we want to bring in hundreds of thousands of college students to be able to volunteer with third graders, fifth graders, teaching them how to read, write, and do math. I think that's a good thing. I think it's a good thing on focusing on the youth, because you know what happens? When you don't focus on the youth, it ruins the community, because those children grow up to be adults. And those adults grow up to be parents. And if you don't start with the children, you're going to ruin the next generation. And so you have to start with the children. And so I like that idea of being able to teach the kids. And sometimes it's sad because, especially when trying to talk with the individuals about the Bible, and you're talking with parents, people who have children, and they reject the gospel, well, you just have made years of your children's life harder because you're keeping the truth of God out of their lives. And so to reach the children, a lot of times you have to go through the parents, and the parents just don't care. They don't care. And they might say that they care, but in their works, they're denying. They're saying that they care. They're denying the saying that they care. They don't care. And so what do? We need to care. We need to care. We need to say we care, and we need to show we care. And so Binkley says our country doesn't have any more money. We are running $1.5 trillion deficit every year, and it's time for us to own our city. I agree. It's time for us to think about the cities that we live in, try to make things better. And a lot of individuals are far-sighted, meaning they're thinking about what's going on in the neighboring city and the neighboring country and the neighboring continent. And really, they're not doing anything else where they're staying. They're getting no local work done because they're focusing on places that are far off. But it starts where you are. A lot of individuals, when they want to share the gospel, they think about, I need to go to this country, I need to go to that country. What about your neighborhood? You know, you try talking with the people down your street, up and down your block. You try to talk with everybody in your city, and here you want to go to someone else's city and go talk to them over there. There's work to do where you are. And I think that's what this is pointing out, that there's work to do where you are. And he's saying, what I'm recommending we do, the article says, Binkley says, and he says, and it's time for us to teach another generation and really start a work movement in America. And I think that's what's needed. Teaching the next generation not only to work hard, because you have to work hard to be a good Christian. You can't be a good Christian and not work. You know, the Thessalonians, Paul was in person and told them that they need to work. In the letter of 1 Thessalonians, Paul reminds them and says, hey, you need to work with your hands. And in the second letter, he reminds them again for the third time that they need to be working together in the community with their hands, earning a living for themselves, not mooching off of other individuals in the community. Because what are you doing? If you're not working and you're eating food, well, somebody's earning it, and it's not you, and you're piggybacking, and it's not helping the community, it's not helping you, and it's definitely not helping the person who you're mooching off of. And so Paul reminded them 3 times, the first time in person, the second time in the letter of 1 Thessalonians, and the third time in the letter of 2 Thessalonians. And we just have so many people in our generation that are not willing to work because the government's feeding them, paying them, encouraging them, keeping them dumb, and it's not doing any good for the community or for their eternal future, for the day of judgment. And it says we need to be teaching in every city. Teach them a job where they can have a living wage. Not everybody's supposed to go to college. And so I would agree. There's a lot of individuals who don't go to college, and sometimes the only thing a college degree is good for is to show up on a resume. And there's a lot of individuals who would do much better than other people at the work, and they don't have a college degree, but the only reason other people get the job is because they have a college degree. But I agree with that statement. Need to train these individuals, right? What is school good for? Individuals go to college to get a piece of paper, and it doesn't really teach them how to do a job, because you could get the same job in different locations, and that college degree didn't necessarily prepare you for that job. It's just looks good on the resume. But you go through school, you go through elementary school, you go through high school, you go through college, and guess what? These kids graduate and they're looking for a job and they don't know what to do. They don't know where to start. So what does that mean? It means it starts with whoever's teaching the children. And nowadays, everybody is teaching the children nonsense. They're teaching them stuff that they shouldn't even be thinking about at this age, at the age that they're in, about who do you love? You love a man, you love a woman. Are you a man? Are you a woman? If you're a man, you could be a woman. If you're a woman, you could be man. they're not teaching them a whole lot of good, and it's just confusing them. It's ruining their future. It's stripping the responsibility of the parents to teach their children what's right and wrong. And so it does start with teaching the children. And so this article, Meet the Pastor Running for President, yeah, I disagree with his background. I disagree with him calling his wife a pastor, right? I disagree with the plan of salvation that they teach. But I do like, the good thing I like is focusing on the children, which is the goal, to focus on the children. And what do you have to do? You have to get through to the parent. And what do you have to do? You have to get through to the parents. And that's what we're trying to do. That's what I'm trying to do. So thank you for your time. Hopefully you enjoyed this article. Let me know below what you think. You disagree, you agree. He got your vote or nah? You don't got to tell me that. I'm not much into politics, but I do like reading. I do like discerning between good and evil and pointing out the good and the bad and trying to find good things having to do with everybody. And be slow to anger. Be slow to get upset. It's not going to give you a happy life. Try to be reasonable. Give people, the benefit of the doubt. Somebody you saw today was angry. Well, maybe they had a bad morning. Well, they were angry last week. Well, maybe they had 7 days of bad mornings, right? Try to give people the benefit of the doubt. God bless you. Thank you for your time. And we'll have another video posted where we review some articles from Christian Post. Have a nice day.